Hey, what is up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. We have some amazing new video footage that has just hit the web. You just saw it, of a UFO captured on the infrared camera on a police helicopter over Bristol, Wales. And this is a very mysterious UFO sighting. This is one of the good ones, and it's very similar to some other prolific UFO sightings captured on these thermal cameras. I'll show you guys another clip in just a second. But we have this UFO here, and it was posted to Twitter by the National Police Air Service St. Athan account. Here's a screen grab of that. And according to the tweet and the sources who uploaded this footage originally, this object, whatever it is, could only be seen with the infrared thermal camera. They could not see it without the camera. In fact, nothing was seen in the entire area by the local air traffic control. And as you can see in the video, the images that we're seeing are being switched between daylight and infrared imaging. And only when the camera switches back to infrared does the object appear and become visible again. Now, the object was described as being, quote, hot. And what was also strange is that it was traveling against the wind. So they immediately ruled out that it could have been a lantern or anything like that. And although it's kind of hard to judge here, the object was actually spotted flying over the Bristol Channel at around 1,000 feet. So there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of theories about the possibility that this object came from underwater. It's a USO, or unidentified submerged object. It's certainly not the first time we have witnessed UFOs coming up out of the water and vice versa. We've done plenty of videos in the past talking about our oceans and how there is an immense amount of mysterious, unidentified activity happening underneath the waves, down in the deep blue sea, and how we have a ton of confirmed sightings and reports of people witnessing saucers and other craft blasting up out of the ocean and flying towards space, and vice versa. So this object very well could have come from the water, and we'll show you another piece of video here in a minute of another one of these infrared UFO captures where we'll see an object that actually does enter the ocean and come back out again. But so far what I can tell from this video is we have a saucer-shaped object. At least that's what it looks like from the angle that we're seeing. It's circular in nature, has an inner circle, reminds me of the typical saucer, blowing against the wind. Definitely not a balloon, definitely not a Chinese lantern. And by the way, this is according to the people who recorded it, to the police chopper that was recording it. So don't take my word for it. This comes straight from the source of the video. And so, as of right now, because this story just broke, we have no details about what the object could be, but it's very strange, don't you guys think, that the object could only be seen from its heat signature and was invisible to the naked eye or to the regular video cameras. Infrared is the only way you can see this object, and this is something that we have seen many times before. We have done many reports in the past on the fact that our skies are filled with unknown objects, many of which seem to be utilizing some sort of cloaking technology. And the only way that they have ever been spotted is by using IR cameras, thermal, and when that is used, voila, you see them sitting in the sky. Here are some different images we're showing you of these UFOs captured on thermal, whereas they were completely invisible using normal cameras and still photographs. So infrared is something I would highly suggest investing in if you have the time, if you have the money, and you're an amateur UFO hunter. You will see a lot of strange things with infrared because things give off heat signatures, and whatever this object here was over Bristol, it was definitely hot, definitely giving off a heat signature, and that's the only way they spotted it. So it's very bizarre. It's got a lot of people scratching their heads, including the police, and we definitely wanted you guys to check this out. Now, this is very similar to another widely popular UFO video that was captured about a year ago of another UFO, this time recorded by the Department of Homeland Security, flying over Puerto Rico. That video you're seeing here. So just check this out and we'll talk about it more in just a second. Alright, so, I mean, this is another completely bizarre, awesome piece of UFO video here. You're seeing the thermal imaging video, which shows this object moving very quickly over land and then over the ocean. At times, it seems to change shape. It does not look like anything man-made. DHS had no idea what it was. They were tracking it. We see it going over buildings, trees, and at one point, later in the video, things start to get really bizarre when we see the object head over the ocean, after which it actually enters the ocean without slowing down at all. So it goes into the ocean, and you can see it speeding under the water. I mean, this thing does not slow down one bit, which is also very strange, because you would have think that the water would have definitely slowed this thing down a little bit. But no, it just goes down to the ocean, comes back up, and then would seem to either be joined by a second UFO, or it simply split into two UFOs. So the object was captured over the Rafael Hernandez Airport in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, and it's another case of one of these objects appearing on infrared, completely invisible to anything else. And this video, coupled with the new footage we just showed you, is some great evidence to the fact that these objects are sitting in our skies, hiding in plain sight. And I think it was just an awesome and really a good idea that the police posted this video online, because I think we really need to get it out there, and I think people need to know what's in their skies and that this phenomenon is real. So let me know what you guys think. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is NASA's big announcement. If you remember a few videos back, we were talking about how NASA was gearing up for a very exciting announcement pertaining to Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter. And although we knew from the get-go that NASA had stated that this would not be about alien life being found, so don't get your hopes up on that. However, they did hype it up. They made it seem like it was this huge announcement, a huge new discovery about the possibility of them confirming that there is what we already know, which is that there is a massive ocean underneath Europa's icy surface. And how do we know that? Well, because we've seen the large geysers, the huge plumes of water seen jetting up from underneath the planet's surface in official NASA photographs like you're seeing here. So the big announcement was set for Monday, yesterday, on the 26th. And so, what was this big announcement? Well, are you guys ready? Drum roll, please. You guessed it. Nothing at all. Not a damn thing. So get this, because this long-awaited announcement was that they had confirmed that cryovolcanoes existed on Europa. Now, in layman's terms, that means that they've confirmed that these large waterspouts and geysers exist. The only problem with that is that we already knew that. We knew that these geysers existed. And how did we know? Because you published the very photographs over the past 2 years showing them. We have had photos like this showing these massive waterspouts coming from the planet, indicating a large underground ocean. We've known that. And so NASA has literally come out and told us something we already knew. That's their big announcement. As if to say, hey guys, remember these pictures we took showing these water plumes coming from Europa? Well, we have indeed confirmed that they are waterspouts, as we said that they were a year ago. And this is what NASA does. This is what the government, this is what all space agencies do. They hype up these announcements, and then they come out and it's always a complete anticlimax, where they tell you something you already know, or they string you along, giving you these pieces of information, worthless discoveries, and they really pull on people's legs, making them think that they're actually going to tell them something worthy and real. They're not. They're never going to give us any real information. They're going to continue drip feeding little by little. I mean, like now they've just confirmed what we already knew. So I don't even know. This was a worthless announcement. We've been talking about this for over a year, about these geysers coming up from the surface, about these cryovolcanoes. And so the next big announcement will probably be that they're pretty sure an ocean exists under the surface. And then in the next announcement, they'll say that they're really sure, bordering on certainty, that an ocean exists under Europa. And then you're going to have about 10 more announcements where they reiterate more firmly how sure they are that there's likely the possibility of an ocean under the surface. So it may be another 10 years before they even start talking about their belief that there could be life within this ocean. So it's all just a big game. You're not going to get any real information, and I knew that this announcement would be exactly what it was. Another letdown. And in reality, the big announcement is that you shouldn't rely on big announcements from NASA. So, yeah, very exciting news. Now, I have an update for you guys from yesterday's video. If you remember, we were on Google Earth, Google Maps, and we were showing you this saucer-shaped object that we had found at the end of a runway located at JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where they test all of these secret aircraft. They have large underground facilities built into the side of the mountains. And so here is the image of that saucer sitting at the end of the runway that was sent in by a viewer. And yeah, it was definitely very mysterious. So we posted the video on it. And then over the past 24 hours since we posted that video, I've been getting a ton of tweets and emails and Facebook messages from people who have gone back onto Google Earth to check it out for themselves and have pointed out the fact that the object, whatever it is, has moved. Where before it was sitting at the end of this runway, it is now moved off of the runway and is sitting like near some bushes off to the right. Here you're seeing a side-by-side comparison. And so I said, okay, well that's weird. And it's also just strange that this has suddenly happened right after we posted a video about it. I mean, are they trying to suddenly conceal this thing? Is this a secret vehicle that they're testing and it just crashed over in the bushes? And we now know specifically for a fact that this particular building with this runway here is used and has been used for years to test secret vehicles. I got an email from a viewer who showed his dad the video of the saucer on the runway, And it turns out that his father, who is a painter, actually painted this exact building back in 1984. So let me read the email here. And she says, yeah, her boyfriend's father saw this video, and they came to find out that he had actually painted the building and the runway back in 1984. So it's 1984, he painted it. He said that he hated painting there because he was never allowed to be alone and always had to be escorted everywhere. Now, he also said that this specific building and runway was used for testing of the rover, the Mars rover. So we definitely know things are being tested there. The rover was tested there. We have a source who actually did some work at the building, was followed around, escorted everywhere, and treated like he was in the midst of some very sensitive projects and testing that was going on. And yeah, it's just strange. I wanted you guys to see this. The object has definitely moved, so who knows? At least this confirms further that this was not just something painted on the runway or something like that. This object is definitely moved, and yeah, big thanks to everyone who let me know about this. Now, lastly, I've got a lot of reports of a meteor that blasted through the skies over Queensland, where a lot of different people saw a real bright light that was described by one person as a second sun. That was streaking across the sky. There was a loud explosion, and it even shook the entire ground. And so news reports started going up everywhere. Bright light, loud boom, the ground shaking. And from what I can tell right now, I mean, it looks like a meteor. We have some new video footage that has come out. This thing was apparently shaking houses as it blasted through the sky, causing tremors afterwards. It was spotted at Turkey Beach and Emerald in Queensland, Australia, as hundreds of locals took to social media to report their houses shaking and a burning light in the sky. There were a number of calls to the police from concerned residents in the Gladstone area. And from what we know, it looks like the meteor, or what we're being told, is that, quote, the meteor impacted somewhere offshore. But if it flew down into the ocean, why were people's houses shaking? And why were there tremors afterwards? So this was seen by hundreds of people, if not thousands. And it was seen as far south as Harvey Bay and as far north as Yeppoon, with the tremor being felt over the Gladstone area and Boyne Island. And so, I mean, if any of you guys, I know we have a lot of viewers in Australia, have any pics or footage, or just can put down in the comments your experience if you saw this thing, that'd be cool. Apparently it was a beautiful sight. And yeah, we're being told right now that it was a meteor, but I haven't seen anything that it's completely been confirmed as a meteor. It's just what people think it was. So I'm trying to see if anyone else saw it, got a closer look at it, and it was just strange to me that if it did go down into the ocean, that it would cause such a tremor that many people thought was an earthquake. So we'll do an update on that soon. I'll post some updates to Twitter and Facebook when I get them. You know what, lastly, while we're on the subject of meteors, meteorites, shooting stars, I wanted to give you guys a fun little fact. If you don't know, some of you may do, but you guys remember the film Jaws, about the killer man-eating shark? Well, many people don't realize that there's actually a UFO sighting in that movie. Actually, there's a couple, and you can do this yourself. Go to YouTube and just search for Jaws UFO. And there's a couple videos that'll show you a few different scenes showing some strange activity in the skies in the film. One in particular is when one of the main characters, he's sitting in the boat over the ocean, the sun has gone down, it's a beautiful scene, and we see what looks like a big, bright object, fiery object, streaking across the sky, as you're seeing here. And so it's been like hotly debated about what this thing was. Is it a UFO? Was it a meteor? Was it a shooting star? Was it put in there by Steven Spielberg, who directed it? Is it fake? Is it real? And apparently, the question of this thing finally got back to Spielberg, and he is quoted as saying in a documentary that the shooting star, as he called it, that appears during the nighttime scene is real and not an optical effect. So it must have been just luck that this thing was seen streaking across the sky, and it's beautiful. It leaves this beautiful, glowing, fiery trail behind it. and it just looks very different from the meteorites that we see today streaking through the sky. So I'll let you guys check that out. I'll put a link to the full piece of footage down in the video description. You can check that out and let me know what you guys think. Alright, so just some fun little info there about a beloved film with the killer shark. Still scares me today, and I still will not go more than knee deep into the ocean whenever I go on vacation. So thank you for that. Love the film though. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything else we've talked about today. Stick around because I've got a lot more coming. If you have your own footage or news story you want to get out there, be sure to shoot me an email, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Alright, so again, thanks for watching, and I will see you all back in just a bit. Stay safe, guys.